Good morning, students. This is Latif sir. In this video, I am going to start the chapter 5 of class 7th chemistry. The topic is language of chemistry. In this chapter, first you have to know what is a chemical reaction. A chemical change is also known as chemical reaction. So, a chemical change and chemical reaction both are same. The elements and compounds that take part in chemical reaction, that take part in a chemical reaction or chemical change, are known as reactant, and the elements and compounds that are formed after the chemical reaction are called product. For example, carbon and oxygen undergo a chemical reaction to form carbon dioxide. Okay, in this reaction, carbon and oxygen both are reactant, and carbon dioxide formed is the product. In an atom, electrons are distributed around the nucleus in different circular path. You know that according to the atomic structure. Electrons are distributed or electrons are revolving around the nucleus of an atom in different circular path. And the arrangement of electron around the nucleus of an atom is known as electronic configuration. So what is the electronic configuration? It is the arrangement of electrons around the nucleus in different circular path of an atom is known as electronic configuration. And in a chemical reaction, the electronic configuration of the participating atoms change to new, more stable electronic configuration. So after the chemical change, electronic configuration of the participating atom changes, and a new, more stable electronic configuration formed. Now the conditions for a chemical reaction. Conditions for a chemical reaction. There are some important conditions for a chemical reaction, and the conditions are close contact. Close contact of reactants. When the molecules of reacting molecules or the molecules of reactant are kept away from each other, their atoms do not interact and their electronic configuration of the atoms remains same. Hence, no chemical reaction takes place when the atoms are kept away from each other. A chemical reaction takes place only when the molecules of reactant come sufficiently close to each other. Okay, it is an important condition for a chemical reaction that all the reactants all the reactants must come closer to each other. So a chemical reaction take place only when the molecules of reactant come sufficiently close to each other, and it is only then the electronic configuration of the reactant atoms or participating atoms may change. Second condition is solution form. Second condition of chemical reaction is solution form. Some substances do not react even when they are placed in contact. They react only when they are mixed in the form of solution. In some cases, it is found that close contact is not uh, close contact is not enough for a chemical reaction, and in these cases the reactant react with each other only when they are present in solution form. So solution form is also an important condition for a chemical reaction. Okay, so some substances do not react even when they are placed in contact, and they react when they are mixed in the form of solution. For example, I am giving an example. When sodium chloride and lead nitrate solids are placed in contact with each other, there will be no chemical reaction. When sodium chloride, solid sodium chloride and lead nitrate solids are placed in contact with each other, no reaction takes place. But when their solutions in water are mixed, they react to form lead chloride and sodium nitrate. So in this case, the reaction only takes place when both the reacting species are present in solution. A solution of reactant in water is called its aqueous solution. Remember that aqueous solution means a solution in water. Okay, so solution form is an important condition for a chemical reaction. Next condition is heat. Condition of chemical reaction. Heat, that is source of energy. Some chemical reactions occur only when the reactants are heated. For example, sulfur and iron do not react until sufficiently heated to produce iron sulfide. So the reaction between sulfur and iron only takes place only when the mixture is heated. Okay, when the mixture of sulfur and iron is heated, it will react and it will produce iron sulfide as a product. So heat is also an important factor, important condition for a chemical reaction. Next next condition is light. It is also one type of source of energy. Okay, and some reactions occur only in the presence of light. For example, photosynthesis. It is a chemical reaction which takes place in green plant in presence of sunlight. And the reactant of this reaction are water, carbon dioxide producing glucose and oxygen as product. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water react in presence of sunlight to produce glucose and oxygen as a product. Next condition for a chemical reaction is pressure. Some chemical reactions, especially between gaseous reactant, occur only at a high pressure. So pressure is also an important condition for a chemical reaction. Okay, for example, carbon monoxide react with hydrogen at very high pressure. Monoxide react with hydrogen at very high pressure to produce methanol as the product. Okay, so in some chemical reaction, pressure is also an important condition. Next condition is electric current. Some chemical reaction happens when electric current is passed into the reactant. For example, electrolysis of water. It is a chemical reaction. When electricity or electric current is passed through water, it will dissociate and it will produce hydrogen and oxygen gas. So the reaction occurs when an electric current is passed through water to produce hydrogen and oxygen. So in this reaction, electricity or electric current is an important condition. And the last condition is catalyst. What are catalysts? Catalysts are chemical substances that affect the rate of chemical reaction without participating in the reaction. Chemical substance that affect the rate of chemical reaction without participating in the reaction is called a catalyst. So catalyst is used to speed up or slow down the rate of a chemical reaction. Okay, so catalyst is also an important factor. Some reaction speed up or slow down in presence of a specific substance, and a substance that affect the rate of a chemical reaction without participating in the reaction is called a catalyst. And for different reaction, different catalysts are used. For example, reaction between nitrogen and hydrogen to give ammonia. In this reaction, iron is used as catalyst. Now see types of chemical reaction. There are many types of chemical reaction like combination reaction, decomposition reaction, single displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, oxidation reaction, reduction reaction. Okay, these are some types of chemical reaction. So first type of the reaction, combination reaction. Combination. So what is a combination reaction? It is also known as synthesis reaction. It is also known as synthesis reaction. So a chemical reaction in which two or more reactant combine to form a single new product. Then the reaction is known as combination. In combination reaction, two or more reactant combine together to form a single product. For example, when magnesium burn in air, in this reaction magnesium combine with oxygen to form magnesium oxide. So this is a combination reaction. Second type of reaction is decomposition reaction, just opposite of combination reaction. Opposite of combination reaction is decomposition reaction. A chemical reaction in which a single reactant split into its constituent element or into other compounds is called decomposition reaction. So in decomposition reaction, a single reactant splits into its constituent element or into other compounds. For example, water split into its constituent element hydrogen and oxygen when electric current is passed through water. Similarly, limestone on strongly heating it decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So these are some example of decomposition reaction. Okay. And in your syllabus only combination reaction and decomposition reaction is given. Now see characteristic of chemical reaction. So today first I have told what is a chemical reaction, what are reactant and what are product, and what are the conditions for a chemical reaction, and then types of chemical reaction I have told already. Now I'll tell what are the characteristics of a chemical reaction. Important characteristic of a chemical reactions, and the characteristics are change of color. In some chemical reaction there is change in color of the reactant to product. The color of reactant may change in a chemical reaction. For example, rusting of iron. In this reaction, color of iron changes from silvery white to brown. Silvery white to brown. So in rusting of iron, change of color take place. Change of color of reactant. Second characteristic is change of state. Change of physical state, that is solid to liquid, liquid to gas, like this. There there may be a change of state in chemical reaction. For example, reaction of potassium chromate, which is liquid, and solution of barium nitrate, which is also a liquid, forms barium chromate as a solid. So in this reaction, two liquid react uh, to give a solid product. Okay. So in some chemical reaction, change of state takes place. Next factor is evolution of gas. In some reaction, the product is produced in the form of gas, having characteristic color, odor, and effervescence. For example, when zinc react with hydrochloric acid, effervescence is observed due to evolution of hydrogen gas. Okay, so when zinc combine with or zinc react with hydrochloric acid, you will get hydrogen gas. And in this reaction, effervescence is observed due to formation of this hydrogen gas. Okay. And next characteristic is evolution of smell. In some chemical reaction, a specific smell is produced. For example, when sulfur react with hydrogen, a strong foul smell of hydrogen sulfide gas is observed. So in this reaction, change in evolution of smell take place. Okay, and next characteristic of chemical reaction: release or absorption of heat. In some chemical reaction, heat is released, and in some chemical reaction, heat is absorbed. Okay, so in some chemical reaction, heat is evolved. For example, heat is evolved. For example, uh, reaction between hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide result in the evolution of heat. So, in the reaction between sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, heat is evolved. So, it is an exothermic reaction because heat is evolved in this reaction between sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, exothermic reaction. And in some chemical reaction, heat is absorbed, and these reactions are known as endothermic reaction, a reaction in which heat is absorbed. For example, dissolving ammonium chloride in water absorb heat from the surrounding of the container and become cold. Okay, so this is an endothermic reaction because heat is absorbed in this reaction when ammonium chloride dissolve in water. And last characteristic of a chemical reaction is formation of precipitate. Precipitate, what is precipitate? It is a solid product formed after the reaction. So in some reaction, one of the product appears as a precipitate. Precipitate means solid product. Okay, so in some chemical reaction, precipitate is formed. For example, when barium sulfate reacts with barium chloride, you will get uh, when for example, white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed when barium chloride is added to sulfuric acid. Barium chloride is added to sulfuric acid, you will get a white precipitate of barium sulfate. Okay, so in this reaction, a solid insoluble product, that is precipitate, is formed when, and the name of the precipitate in this reaction is barium sulfate. Okay, and this precipitate is formed when barium chloride is added to sulfuric acid. So today in this video I have discussed about what is chemical reaction, what are reactant, what are product, conditions for a chemical reaction, types of chemical reaction, and the characteristic of chemical reaction. You have to remember all these characteristics, all these conditions with the example. Okay, thank you students.